Well, we got some good news for you now. We have an active live video stream here. So you can also find us here. We're going to put that out on Twitter so you can find us. Go to our Twitter page at TalkSportsATL, and you can find the live link, and you will see me with these two handsome gentlemen here right next to me. He is the head coach from Clayton. I won't say Clayton County, but Clayton State University. He's the head men's basketball coach. Paul Harrison, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, thanks for having me.
Well, it's good to be here. And this gentleman on the other side, coach, has been trying to get him to give him like at least another year of eligibility.
Oh, please.
Reggie Johnson, a former outstanding player here at Cedar Grove, and later went on to play in the association as well. Well, gentlemen, listen, you know, one of the things that is going on right now, of course, the big buzz in town is what we were talking about as far as the community, but they're doing some serious stuff on the hardwood. And, of course, our Atlanta Hawks 60-win season this year. Coach, now you've been in the game for a while. What does it mean when you have a team that, you know, people had overlooked and all of a sudden these guys are like the big dog in the pen?
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, you start feeling like you have magic, and they started feeling like they had magic pretty early on in the year. The way they play, the way they move the ball, the way they guard. They've got, I guess the one knock on the Hawks would be who's your go-to guy, but at the end of the day, you've got plenty of guys that, you know, Jeff Teague in the open floor. You know, now Millsap's back and healthy. You know, you're going to run Corver off screens, you know. You just got a lot of weapons. The way they play, obviously, they're the Spurs East, right?
There you
know
go.
what they say? They're
That's
like
exactly
the Spurs
right.
East. And they're the Spurs East with youth. You know, Horford. I mean, you got a lot of pieces, a lot of very good players.
Well, Reggie, look at this team here. Obviously, if we look at the first round of playoffs, you got the Hawks, the number one seed, obviously, in the East against the Brooklyn Nets. When you're looking at this, you've been in this situation before. How much energy is Joe Johnson going to have coming back to play against the Hawks, you know, for the first time in the playoffs?
Well, I think he's going to be ready. He's going to be ready. He's going to come out playing, and I think the Hawks, like Coach said, that youth is going to run him. So I think he'll come out the first couple of games battling, but I think in the long run, if the game goes 6 games, I think the Hawks will come out on top. Well,
I'm telling you something, Reggie. You give them more than everybody else. Most of the pundits are thinking it's going to be a clean sweep. I think that's because, you know, they handled, I want to say New Jersey, but they handled Brooklyn, you know, very well during the season. They were undefeated. I think they beat them by average about 15 to 16, actually 17 points a game. And I think what's going to get down to is why Coach was trying to recruit you. It's really going to get down to playing that interior defense.
Exactly.
If you look at the Hawks, one thing they do very well, and I think both of you guys appreciate it, but I know, Coach, you do, is the fact that I like to say that the Hawks are a very handsy team. You know, if you get that ball anywhere in that inner court area, they always have active hands. Mm-hmm. How important is that, Coach, as far as the defensive scheme, to have that type of activity going on a defensive setup?
Well, it's vital because as you know, as Coach can say, in the NBA playoffs, you're playing in a half court system, and so now you've got to take away dribble drive opportunities.
Right.
You got to be able now. If you get your hands on balls, that creates live ball turnovers, which now you get runouts.
Right.
And Reggie can attest this. You're not, you know, you get live ball runouts, you get dunks and layups. Now that helps you, so you don't have to grind out every single bucket. Also, I think a lot of the end of the shot clock possessions are going to come down to high ball screens. Darren Williams is not the way he used to be.
Right.
You know, and Teague plays in the paint.
Yeah.
Teague lives in the paint.
Right.
Whereas Darren Williams isn't in the kind of, I heard somebody say last night, he's not in superstar shape now. He's in shape to stay in the league. Mm-hmm. Whereas a guy like a Jeff Teague is super quick. He lives in the paint.
Right, so it's going to be a lot of running. So I just hope that the Hawks can stay healthy, you know, because that is the key to the playoffs. You know, everybody getting your full team back, being able to use all your players, because during the season they have used all their players. So they continue to do that. I think they'll do good.
And obviously that's the one drawback that the Hawks are facing right now. You know, the sad thing is obviously we do have to report from time to time on bad news. And so clearly with Thefalosha being out, you know, for the remainder of the season, obviously the playoffs, that's going to be problematic, especially if they anticipate at some point run against the Cleveland Cavaliers, because clearly this guy has been able to handle LeBron and handle not only him but players like that, where you have guys that are that are able to attack you from off of the wing, that can attack you both inside and outside. Defalocia has been a key as far as trying to be a defensive stopper in that regard.
Right.
Yeah, he's a big guy too, and the key is getting out on that floor with being as big as he is. He can do real well.
Well, they're gonna have to do without him. that's
yeah,
that's bottom line.
Well, also, as Reggie can attest, you got a guy like LeBron James. You're not stopping LeBron James, but you got to put multiple guys guarding him. You got to keep fresh guys on him. So you have Carroll. He can guard him.
Yeah.
And now with Cephalosha, you could have had two guys, which they've done during the season, so they can share the, one guy guards them, and then, a guy needs a little blow, another guy guards them. Now it's too much of a chore to have one guy have to, shut him down.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
maybe we
impossible.
can get 4 games out of this one.
Yeah. You're not kidding. You're not kidding. But I mean, let's be honest. I mean, are you shutting down LeBron James?
Well, I got 15 minutes left.
Well, yeah.
Well, the one thing is, when LeBron, for some reason, the Hawks are able to do a good job at home. And certainly the last home game that they played against Cleveland, they didn't neutralize LeBron. Actually held him under 20 points. I was at that game, 18 points. He looked a little out of sorts now. Now, some of that reason, I believe, I got one thing from being kind of in the mixture in Atlanta, a lot of different things. I get all the flyers and posters of events. And I know this poster had been circulating on social media about LeBron evidently hosting a party at one of the local night spots here in Atlanta. Now, I'm not going to give you the source, but some inside sources told me they saw him there quite late, and he looked like he was a little under the weather for that game. But I don't think that's going to happen in the postseason. I think that he's going to be fully locked in and concentrating because, he's got something to prove. His whole thing about coming back to Cleveland is he wanted to bring a championship back there, but I don't think that's the year. Well, let's speaking of Cleveland, I'm originally from New England, southern New England down there. Coach is not too far from me down in Westchester County. Do the Celtics have any shot to do or make any noise against the Cavaliers in their series?
What do you think?
I don't think so. I know they have made some trades. They made some crucial trades this year. So I think they're rebuilding, and I'm trying to see. I give them 2 years.
I agree. I mean, I think the Celtics should be. Right now, the Celtics are pleased to be in the playoffs.
Right.
So, I mean, whereas the Cavaliers are looking to win a championship, the Celtics are looking to make progress.
Right.
Well, I think the biggest question is going to be with the Cavaliers going forward, and I think you're right. I think they should be able to eliminate the Celtics fairly easily, as much as I hate to say it. I do think the Celtics will win a game, possibly 2 games, because, inside, the Celtics can be a handful, as the Hawks themselves saw on a couple of times when they played them. They are able to mix it up down low. So I think they'll be able to win 1 or 2 games. The biggest thing that I'm looking at with Cleveland is chemistry. Now I know, again, I'm an outsider. You guys tell me, is that overrated? Because it looked like there was a little kind of locker room drama with Kevin Love seeming to not be too user friendly with LeBron. Even making some statements that he didn't think LeBron would be the MVP, which is legitimate. I mean, it's a true statement, but you don't say that against your superstar. What do you think? Locker room chemistry, is the Cleveland Big Three going to be able to weather that and get past our Hawks?
Well, I think that's the NBA right now. Because the guys now, everybody's not buddies. When we played, we was a team. Everybody was buddies.
And he hated the other guys.
Yeah, I hated the other guys.
Yeah. No question. No question.
So, but now it's different. Different chemistry. So he spoke and he was true. He was truthful about it. So you can't say nothing about that.
All right.
I also think the thing about the Cavaliers is you got 2 guys you can put the ball in their hands. They can get their own or create for another. I mean, you got LeBron or Kyrie Irving. I mean, both of them are dynamic. They're going to get their own, get to the rim, pull up jumpers, or they're going to create for another.
Yeah.
And so and now they've got some defensive help with Shumpert and guys like that. Chemistry. Yeah, I agree with Reggie. I mean, I think it goes a long way, but at the same time, when you've got 2 guys that can basically dominate a game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's you're not talking about the Heat with LeBron and Wade, but you're talking about a mini version with LeBron and Irving, the way Irving can take over a game.
He can play too, He's a good player.
Yeah.
And there's no question. I guess I just need to look back at my days when I was younger. And this was another sport, but certainly it was known in the late 70s, those legendary Yankee teams did not get along. Matter of fact, there were times where the man that stirred the drink, Mr. Reggie Jackson,
Sure.
and Craig Nettles, their all-star third baseman, actually got into a couple of interesting confrontations. So we know that you don't necessarily have to agree. Going back even further again in baseball, the Oakland A's, again, Mr. Jackson and some of the other guys didn't get along, but they were able to win 3
Right.
world titles in the 70s. So I guess what it is really about, can you, once you cross that line on the hardwood of the field, can you make it happen there?
Exactly.
And speaking of that, okay, let's go to the other matchup there. Number 3, Chicago Bulls against the Bucks. I mean, the Bulls look like they're a team with a mission. Bucks have any opportunity to win at least a game or two in that series? Coach, first you.
I don't think so. I mean, I think they have an opportunity to win a couple of games, but at the same time, the Bulls play great team defense. Great team defense. They really make you earn every single bucket you score. Now, the problem with the Bulls, though, is Noah's not really what Noah was. Rose is coming back, and he didn't play a lot last night.
Right.
He played a little bit more as he's moving forward, but he's Derrick Rose now. The Butler guy's an NBA All-Star now. I mean, so I just think you have too much talent and you have too much team defense. The Bucks don't have enough in the way of scoring with the way the Bulls play defense in order to win the series. I think anybody can win a game or two so evenly matched.
Yeah, I think I was watching the Hawks play the Bucks play Chicago last night. And I thought the Hawks were supposed to have won the game.
Yes, yeah.
But
Right.
I seen Chicago come back, and I really saw a lot of talent out there on that court for Chicago. So I think when Rose get healthy and then Noah play pretty good, I think they'll do pretty good.
Well, and the thing with the Bucks that they're going to run into a problem is that since they've made that blockbuster trade, they actually have went backwards. They actually are 11-18 since they did that. So again, I know team chemistry is not the end all of end all, but when you start making those types of changes, with your team, and this especially you're talking about 30 games left in the season, I think it's going to have an impact. Well, listen, you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. We broadcast to you right here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570 on your dial. You also can find us online, WIGOAM.com. You also can check us out on mobile, iOS or Android power. Because you know what? The application is free. Tune in radio. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, or better yet, put in Real Talk Sports, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. And you also can find us on social media at Talk Sports ATL. If you go and look at our Twitter feed, you can click on the link, and you can see us old school guys in the booth right now, broadcasting you on a live video stream. So check that out as well. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick little break here, do a little advertisement, and then we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. Keep it locked right here for more.
So how I feel the season over with now? That's when the real work starts.
Yeah. Especially I'm telling you, Division Two.
How recruiting doing?
It's going okay. The one good thing about this year is we only have 3 to get.
Three to get?
Whereas like in past years, the past 2 years in springs, we've had like 7, 8 to get.
Right.
Because at Division Two, so much of it is junior college transfers and Division One transfers, and we have 3 to get, but 2 of them have to be scoring guards.
Okay.
We'd like to get a bouncy 4-5 to move our 4, who's a bit undersized, play him a little bit at the 3, but he's got to improve his handle.
Yeah.
He doesn't handle the ball great,
Are you doing a lot of recruiting locally? Or
we are. We're trying to look at some transfers locally. Some guys who want to transfer and play closer to home.
Yeah.
We've got some kids obviously in the Atlanta area. I'll tell you the one thing though, it's like there are some guys at the Division I level you offer that you're less likely to offer at the Division II level because you need somebody who can play right away.
Right. That's important.
Yeah, as opposed to a guy who's going to develop. So it's okay.
All right, everybody.
Never
Lots of excitement here in the booth here. We're chopping it up here. Now, see, you people listening on the radio, you can't hear this banter, but those of you guys who are looking on live stream, you've been hearing us as we've been chit-chatting here behind the scenes. And that's the thing that's fun about this with live radio, live video streaming. Now, everybody's going to that direction, and we thank God that we have the ability to do that. And we also thank God, again, I want to give him a shout-out. We got the hardest working man in radio with us. I'm talking about our program director, Kevin Buchanan. The guy is everywhere He sets up most of our programming here for what you hear on the station, and we have a variety. Now, we are no longer just gospel. For those of you who are just tuning back into us, we actually do gospel in the morning, and you actually get to hear me and several other ministers talk to you in the morning time. And then Reggie Gay Gospel from 10 to 12, giving you some great gospel music. A lot of local Atlanta talent now is on that show. But then about the noontime hour, we change over to a little bit of old school blues. I mean, like traditional blues that you haven't heard in a long time. You can check that out. And then in the drive time segment, Kevin Buchanan himself brings you a mixture of old school R&B and even a little classic hip hop for those of you who have not grown up. But the bottom line is that we got great music and great talk right here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO. So certainly you can check us out. No need to turn your dial, no matter what you like. Now, I got good news for you. I got to be really get the little slap on the wrist as a radio host. I forgot to tell you our phone lines are now open. 404-361-1571. You can call us up. You can talk to our guest in the booth here. He is the head coach from the men's basketball team right here at Clayton State University. Coach Paul Harrison is here, and also a guy who is a local star here. He played at Cedar Grove, later went on to play college, and in the NBA itself. Reggie Johnson is with us as well. So we thank both these gentlemen for taking time out of busy schedules to join us. Well, we're talking some NBA. We've already talked about our Hawks, Cleveland, and the Bulls, and of course the last duo in the East is number 4 Toronto Raptors against the number 5 Washington Wizards. And I think that these are two teams that are very dangerous in the East. The Raptors, know how to score at will, and Washington plays some great defense. And of course, you have the blur on the court at the guard position, John Wall.
I think John Wall, if he come in and play a good game and hold down on the turnovers and stuff, I think he'll do real well. And Washington will do real well at that series.
Right. John Wall's terrific, and he's got great size, and he gets all the way to the rim. And you got Washington, from their experience last year, helps them. Now, I know that they underachieved for what they wanted.
Just a little bit, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
They had injuries with Beal, but I agree. I mean, John Wall can take over a game, both offensively and defensively.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, his speed is just, when you watch this guy, and like how he can really just take over a game. It's just unbelievable. And really, when you look at this guy, you normally think the NBA, you think about the big man, but really, his play, and of course we talked earlier about the Kyrie Irving, and of course our own Jeff Teague. I think that the guards are going to play a big impact in this NBA postseason. So, gentlemen, most of the pundits are giving Toronto a slight edge, actually, over Washington in 7.
Right.
Coach, we're going to put you on the spot. Who do you think, Wizards or Raptors?
I think the home court advantage that the Raptors have probably will pull it through. I think DeRozan's obvious is another guy like a Wall who's a future dream teamer. Now DeRozan doesn't have the ball in his hands all the time, but they're going to isolate him and put him in opportunities. I think the Raptors probably in 7 because of the home court advantage.
Well, I'm going with Washington.
There you go.
Like I said, Wall, I like that guy. SEC all the way with me. So, but I think if he hold down the turnovers and play a controlled game, he should pull them through.
Well, Reggie, now you shout at the SEC. Tell people where you played once you left Cedar Grove.
I went to the University of Tennessee.
University of Tennessee. Now, I'm going to say this real quick before we get back to our NBA. No, it's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. It's very interesting. I got a chance to do the National Signing Day for football.
Okay.
And as I was coming in, I was just stunned at the number of guys that were wearing, Tennessee caps. They were orange. So I stopped one of the guys. I said, what's going on? He looked at me and he just said, "Sir, it's trending orange." And it's really amazing because, Butch Jones has done a tremendous job of recruiting here into Atlanta. I'd say around the country, but especially here. There's a lot of excitement going on out there. So, something must be going on.
Yeah, it's going on. It's a rebuilding stage for basketball and football at Tennessee because the coaches are new. The program is a great program to be a part of. So if a kid looking for somewhere to go, might have a good chance on starting, just like I did, because when I went there, I was a freshman. I started right off the bat. So that made a difference. So some of the kids looking for that could be a good program for them.
Well, I'm gonna tell you again a little inside tip. Keep your eyes on the ladies because they've done some very strong recruiting here in Atlanta. And again, we cover a lot of these different events, and they have the Naismith Awards for high schoolers here in Atlanta every year. Well, 2 years ago, of course, the young lady who was the National Player of the Year is the daughter of the Lionel and Tisha Shields, Diamond DeShields. Originally went to North Carolina. They actually gave her number 23.
Okay.
Some things happened there, and she ended up transferring to the University of Tennessee, where she played this year. And now Tennessee is also getting the Metro Atlanta Player of the Year, Tia Cooper. Now, if you haven't seen this young lady, she played on that outstanding team up there at McEachern, who's won 3 straight titles. She's been there since a freshman, averaged 26.7 points a game.
Right.
And I got to tell you, man, when I talked to her, she said, we're about to do it. So, if you're a fan of Tennessee sports, next year could be your year. And no, please, I don't want anybody from the red and black. I don't want anybody from the blue and gold or Georgia Tech threatening me. We run a balanced program. Please. I'm not being a shill for Tennessee recruiting, all right? Please, folks. I love you, all you Georgia Bulldogs. We want you to come out and support the show. Same thing with you Tech guys. So, but I gotta kind of tell the truth, man. Tennessee has done a phenomenal job of recruiting here in this area.
I like the color of this microphone too.
Well, yeah.
Oh, here we go now.
But also, I mean, Tennessee.
Here we go.
Tennessee, the guys that have been playing for the last 3-4 years at Tennessee, very interesting. I mean, first you got to play for Quanzo Martin. Quanzo Martin is a hard-nosed guy.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, this is a guy who defensively, great coach, really tough. Then you got Donnie Tyndall, where they're playing matchup zone, so there's a lot to be learning and getting proven there.
Yeah.
Now you got Rick Barnes. I mean, it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if Tennessee surprised just because of all 3 of those coaches bring different things that build your IQ, and all 3 of those coaches do a great job in terms of bringing in great players. So,
Well, there it is, folks. You got the inside tip right here.
Yeah, I would know. I mean,
Keep your eyes here on the Tennessee
Yeah.
Volunteers as they are looking to make some noise in the SEC and bringing back the legendary teams. Because again, we can go, because I'm old. I can go way back in the Wayback Machine, and we had back in the 70s the Bernie and Ernie show with Ernie Grunfeld and, of course, the legendary Mr. Bertie King that did such a phenomenal job there. These guys were 2 of probably the greatest SEC players in a tandem, especially in SEC history. So Tennessee looking to bring back the legend, of course, in football, obviously having Peyton Manning and having, won a national championship about, it's hard to believe now, 16, 17 years ago. With Coach Fulmer, who is a guy that I think Tennessee, if they were honest, honest,
made a mistake there. Yeah.
probably regretted cutting Coach Fulmer loose.
Yeah, they regret that.
No,
Yep.
that's
So
a mistake.
that's it. But listen, folks, again, phone lines are open for you for your calls. 404-361-1571. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you live on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. On your dial. You also can find us streaming live online, WIGOAM.com. Or you can go to my website, and you can find the link there at realtalksports.net. And you also can find us on any mobile device. It is a free application, TuneIn Radio. Put in WIGO 1570 or put in the Real Talk Sports Show, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. Well, the Western Conference now. We got Golden State against the New Orleans Pelicans, who won just a magnificent game against the San Antonio Spurs. Anthony Davis, if you have not seen this young man, we've heard about him, a absolutely dominating performance. 31 points, 13 rebounds, 3 block shots against the defending champions. Gentlemen, I think that Golden State might be in for a lot more than what they're thinking, even though most people think they're going to sweep.
Yeah. Well, what do you think,
Reggie? What do you think about that? I mean, you're a big man, so you know.
Well, out there in San Francisco, Golden State, they've been playing good all year.
67 wins, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's nothing to sneeze
they've
at.
been consistent, yeah.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm looking for them to step up during the playoffs because that little point guard,
Curry,
man, that guy can shoot from the other end of the court. So he's a phenomenal player.
And some in the genes, man, because his dad, Del Curry, he could shoot the lights out too. So it's passed right on to young Mr. Stephon.
Yeah, nobody passing the ball in that family.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's spoken from the heart of a true big man.
No question.
Who says, once the ball went in, it went out to the black hole. I never saw it again.
Right.
Never saw it.
And listen, I mean, and you know, as much as Seth Curry and Stephen Curry, rightfully so, has gotten a lot of kudos and is going to be in the conversation of the short list for MVP. Let's not forget this one-man, one-quarter wrecking crew, his partner in the backcourt, Mr. Klay Thompson. That, you know, anytime you got a guy that can score, 26 points in a quarter,
Right.
Right.
you know, you got a beast over there
Yeah,
too.
you got beats, yeah.
Yeah, you know, Davis is phenomenal. Davis is soon to become maybe the best player in the NBA because he does everything. The Warriors have too much. They just have too much, you know. But beware of the Warriors moving as they move farther in the playoffs, because jump shooting teams, as Reggie can attest, don't win NBA championships.
Right.
They don't. And they don't have enough scoring because of health issues around the rim. They don't. You know, unsung guys on the Warriors. I mean, everybody knows Curry's an MVP, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green's terrific. Draymond Green does a little bit of everything. You know, but the Pelicans don't have enough. Although Anthony Davis, Evans, they're great. But I don't know if Golden State can get all the way to the NBA title even in the finals in the West when you're just relying on the jump shot. Too hard.
I'm looking for him to come out the West. I'm looking for San Francisco to come out the West.
Yep.
Golden State.
And see, that's you notice how to correct. He had to. That's again, folks. We are seasoned men in here, so he remembers Golden State when they were the San Francisco Warriors and the great teams they had there up for many, many years. Well, listen again, folks. You can call us up 404-361-1571, and please, I'm gonna repeat this number real slow: 404-361-1571. The reason why I'm doing that is that my cell phone has been ringing off the hook. I will not put you on air through the cell phone, okay? So you got to call the station. I can't link that up. Maybe in the future we'll do that, but not today. Again, 404-361-1571. You give us a call. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your main man, Mr. Jonathan Simmons. I got two guys that know their way around the hardwood. The coach of the Clayton State men's basketball team, Paul Harrison, and a guy here right from Cedar Grove and from the University of Tennessee, Reggie Johnson. Of course, he had a stint in the league as well. As we talk a little NBA basketball. Well, here's another interesting matchup. And one last thing I'll say about the Pelicans. Whatever their coach is selling, they're buying. Because it's like a love fest after that game last night. Their coach obviously haven't played himself. A younger guy. These guys really seem to buy into his philosophy of what's going on. So I think that's going to be another key. Well, now, another MVP candidate takes the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Himself having a legendary coach in a guy that played with the great Celtics team, Kevin McHale. So what's going to happen with the Harden and McHale show as they take on a very tough and a team who's been their rival for years, the Dallas Mavericks?
Man, that's always a rivalry because you never know who's going to pull that out because it all depends on who's got the momentum going. You know, you got Hart. You know, he's just shooting, scoring a lot of points. You know, he got to get during the playoffs. He's going to get the other players more involved in the game. I think to go a long way because he can't come out and drop 50 points every night, and so. But Dallas is a consistent team. But I think Houston's going to pull it out though.
Well, one thing I didn't realize until I was kind of doing some homework for this is that the Rockets have two of their starters out. And they're not going to be playing. I didn't realize that Beverly and I can't hardly pronounce his name, Monte Humans, are both out for the playoffs. So now you're talking about you got 40% of your starting lineup that's not even going to be there. So it's going to be a problem. And let's face it, although Rajon has been problematic during the season, we all know that in postseason, if he's on top of his game, he is one of the toughest guards to play in postseason play.
Yeah.
Right. Well, also you got Nowitzki. I mean, if you throw it to Nowitzki at the high post, I mean, he's one of the few guys where he ball screens and he rolls into the high post to post you at the free throw line.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Because if he catches it at the free throw line,
he got you.
He's got you.
Yep.
He's got you. He fades away on the jump shot. He's 7 feet tall. He can put it on the floor. Not as well as he used to, but remember in those days when they won the championship, he shot like 20 free throws in games.
Right.
You know. But Harden's awfully good.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, is he good.
Well, it's everybody is. This one is, I think, is going to be a real tough one for the pundits to call because people are not sure, and of course, the West has a nasty habit of lower seeds knocking off higher seeds. And speaking of the Rockets, again, going back in the '80s, we had a Rocket team knock off the Lakers in the same kind of situation. Now, of course, it was a shorter playoffs during that time, but you never know when you have these type of rivalries where someone can knock off. So again, I think I'm going to. I'm going to take a wild card. I'm going to side with the pundits. I'm going to look for Dallas and Nowitzki to upset a worn-out Harden and the Rockets in 7 games.
Yeah.
Coach, how about you?
I'll go with you. But you know what? And that Rockets team that upset the Lakers had Moses Malone, right?
Yeah, how about that?
So can this Mavericks team get Moses Malone?
They got Dirk
back in his
Nowitzki.
prime? They do have Dirk Nowitzki,
Right.
but I mean, Moses Malone.
No, we won't get him back. Yeah, you guys much chance of getting Malone as getting Mr. Reggie get out there and play for you in that blue and orange shirt. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, I'll take the Mavericks. Yeah.
15 minutes.
All right, that's right.
Yeah, but I'm going with Houston because I think they're going to come up. They're going to step up big. You know, they got 2 guys out, so somebody got to replace them.
Well, I think the biggest question for them is how much they're going to get, from, a guy that obviously was a legend here, a guy that, at one point was called Superman, but obviously due to his injuries, what are they going to get from Dwight Howard?
Right.
And I think that's going to be really the key to this. And I think because of that uncertainty, that's why I'm going to side with most of the other guys and pick the Mavericks to shake up the world. Well, not shake up the world, but to at least squeak one out in 7. Okay, Clippers and Spurs. Now, there's one that, again, you got a team in the Clippers that everybody pretty much thought before this surge by the Warriors that they were going to be next up. That was CP3 and all the things that he's doing there. And then, of course, with their jump through the moon forward at that power position, we all thought that, hey, listen, this was going to be the next team to do it. But I don't know. I mean, they just they are the number 3 ranked team, but San Antonio has been playing very, very well in the second half. Very, very well. Gentlemen, what do you think? Clippers or San Antonio in that series?
I'll go with the Spurs because they played very well down the stretch, and the Spurs being on the road, not having home court advantage, obviously doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Popovich. It doesn't matter to Duncan. It doesn't matter to Parker, Ginobili. It doesn't matter to Kawhi Leonard. It doesn't matter. So and the one thing about the Clippers that's interesting is there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Clippers because they're as great as Paul is, and he is phenomenal. They're
starting
to get the little whispers he hasn't won anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that has I think Reggie can attest to this. The Spurs will play that series without the pressure.
Yeah.
And the Spurs, and everybody was kind of burying the Spurs at one point,
Yeah,
like in February.
They just looked old and tired at one point. Yep.
Right, and we've seen that before. And I'll give the nod to the Spurs just because they don't really care about being on the road. They don't care about not having home court advantage. They're fine with that.
Well, I'm gonna go with you on this one because I've seen the Spurs. That's a fundamental sound team. I think they're well coached and they're not gonna make a whole lot of mistakes, and that's the key to their success. They come in the stretch. I think the last one they lost, they made a mistake by not boxing out. You ain't gonna see a team lose because a whole bunch of games because they're not boxing out. But I think the Spurs didn't box out Miami, and they were able to get an offensive rebound. That's why they lost. But talking about player of the decade, for me, Duncan is definitely the player of the decade. You can talk about LeBron's all you want to, but Duncan is a true player to me, and I give him his kudos as much more.
And it always seems like the Spurs, even the last 3 years, the title, the championship run where they came short 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The younger guys on the Spurs really come to play.
Right.
Kawhi Leonard, Patty Mills, Danny Green. You know, I mean, these guys come up and all of a sudden play like all stars when the lights are on, and that there's no substitute to that. Having guys that really come through when the lights are on.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of guys coming through with the lights are on, of course, there's one guy that you guys didn't mention, and he wears number 9, and Mr. Tony Parker,
Sure.
because he really often is the engine for San Antonio when it gets down to the nitty gritty, when they need the big play to be made. He seems to do it. But I'm gonna be the contrarian here, and I'm gonna pick the Los Angeles Clippers to shake up the world, only because they did play an outstanding season. They were ranked number 3 overall in the West, and at some point, Blake Griffin is going to have a breakout series. And I just got a feeling with all of this talk buzzing around these guys, with they can't win the big one at CP3, with people saying Blake Griffin is just a guy that is a scorer, he's not a quote-unquote big-time guy as a team player, I think that they're going to do it. And the other thing, too, is that we forget that the Clippers have probably the best defender in the league.
Oh, sure.
In DeAndre Jordan. And he is as you know, Reggie, because you are yourself, he's a grown man.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think that he is going to really, really give Duncan a hard series.
Right.
And I think that's going to be the turning point. And one last thing, I think that the guy that played right here for the Hawks, was a guy that's been really in the talk of 6 man a year. I think Jamal Crawford's got one more postseason left in him. And if he gets hot, that guy is a scoring machine. You get him out there, man, he can give you a point a minute.
Yeah.
That's how it is. So I'm gonna be the contrarian. Preacher gonna take the other side. We're gonna look for the Clippers to squeeze one out.
Jamal Crawford makes some shots where it's like you can't believe he scored. On some of those step back jumpers where guys are all over him, draped all over him, whap, bottom of the net, whap,
bottom of the net. So yeah, I'm gonna look for the Clippers to pull it out. I think that CP3 has something to prove. I think Blake Griffin has something to prove. I think that these guys having that constant moniker of being next up. I think they're tired of it, and I think that they're going to get San Antonio out of there. I think it's going to be a grueling series. But I look for them to possibly win the thing in 6 or maybe even 7 games. So again, I'm going to be the contrarian and pick the Clippers to do some work. All right, well, the last teams we got here, this 4 and 5 series is always the one that's going to be the tightest, as you would expect. Trailblazers against the Grizzlies, just a lot of firepower on both of those teams. Gentlemen, who you think in that series?
Well, I think Grizzly came out last year in the playoff and proved themselves last year that they can be a good playoff team. So I'm thinking they're going to come back and do it again, and because they're good at home. They're good at home, and they have a lot of good talent. They got a lot of big guys. So I think they're going to do good.
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies will win because of their ability to score around the rim with Gasol and Randolph. And I think Conley and Lillard kind of wash each other a little bit out. And then you got Tony Allen, who always, you could put Tony Allen on the other team's best perimeter scorer, and Tony Allen can guard a lot of different positions and make it very hard on that guy to get clean looks. And that's a big deal in the playoffs. I mean, guys got to score in the half court, and you got a guy who really can, lock somebody up. It's huge.
Well, the real problem there, and the reason why I'm going to have to side with the Grizzlies winning this, is one missing ingredient. It's a young man whose dad and family grew up right down the road from us, had a chance to see his dad when he was an absolute beast, playing for Harding High School in the city of Bridgeport. Mr. Wesley Matthews not playing is why Portland won't win.
Yeah.
If he was playing, I would say that Portland, like everybody else was saying, was an odds-on favorite to at least get to the Western Division championship, if not win the whole shebang. But with Wes Matthews not playing, that's going to be a problem. I think that Damon Lillard and obviously LaMarcus Aldridge is, again, same thing, grown man. But, 2 against 3 and 4, that's a problem. Like I said, Matthews was such a impact player on that team because he could do so much. He could hurt you from 3-point. Like his dad, extremely quick off the dribble. But with him being out, that's going to really kind of send the death knell, I think, for Portland. So we got a clean sweep, guys. It looks like Grizzlies are going to do it. Well, speaking of clean sweep, we're going to have to sweep out this booth because it's almost time to head to the house. You've been listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO, AM 1570 on your dial. You also, of course, can hear us online at WIGOAM.com. But before I let you go, preacher always likes to make sure that with all of your sports and all of your fun, that your soul is right. And so I'm going to tell you what I was told a long time ago. If you don't know the Lord as your personal Savior, Jesus Christ, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today because nobody loves you like Jesus, and he is your entry into the kingdom of heaven. Well, listen, I'm a happy man because I'm here on this planet. And I'm grateful to God for every day I'm here. I'm grateful to my guests that joined me, Coach Harrison, Reggie, you and your brother, all the good things you're doing. And Kevin, thank you, and all the people at WIGO. On behalf of my family and everybody else, I'm grateful. I'm leaving with that song. God bless you, and have a great night.
Very good.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Coach?
it.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
Mr. Reggie?
Yeah.
Man. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Enjoyed it. Hey, folks, I almost didn't sign off. Listen, we got to go now. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream broadcast. Again, you can find out more about us online, realtalksports.net. And certainly, if you want to know more about the Clayton State Lakers, we're going to bring Coach back because we're going to let him do a little recruiting thing. So don't. I know you Laker folks listening. How come Coach didn't talk about us? He will next time, okay? So we're talking about what the great things that the Clayton State Lakers are doing right around the corner from us here in Clayton County. Listen, again,